Welcome to Sunday Bible Study. We are continuing the journey through Proverbs. Today we're on Proverbs chapter 6, verses 1 through 15, where it talks about loans, laziness, and wicked people. As you can see, I have it color-coded here. The first 5 verses talk about loans. The next 5 verses talk about laziness. And the last 5 verses talk about wicked people. Now, I will warn you before we get started, this chapter can be a little bit difficult to understand, especially with the King James Version. I had to go through a few other versions just to understand, especially the first 5 verses. So if you would like to pull up a easier to understand translation of the Bible, feel free. We're going to be using King James Version here. We're going to be breaking it down verse by verse, so you can follow along with me if you would like. We're going to jump right into it and start with verse number 1, which says, "My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger." Verse 2, "Thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth." Now, somebody who's never picked up a Bible before will have no idea what this means. And even for me, it was difficult to understand. I had to look at a few other versions. This is what it means, though. It means if you guarantee a loan for your friend, or you agree to a deal with a stranger, then you are trapped by your own words. The words you speak, the deals you make, you're trapped by those. So it's very important that you are aware and careful of what deals you're making, what words you're speaking, because you're trapped by them, by what you speak. Let's move forward. Verse 3, "Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend." So in other words, this basically means humble yourself, right? Go to your friend and make it right with your friend. Plead with your friend, talk to your friend, make it right with your friend. If you are trapped by your words, you're unable to pay the loan, whatever, something happens, be humble, go and make it right. Deliver yourself immediately. Actually, we'll get into that here shortly. Verse 4, "Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids." So basically, don't be asleep, lazy when you owe someone. Make it right. Go do something about it. Don't just be lazy and sleep. That's what sleep is pointing towards, laziness. Verse 5, "Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler." So a roe is a deer, in other translations, a gazelle. It's saying deliver yourself from the words that you trapped yourself with. So in order to deliver yourself, you have to go make it right with that person. So when you go deliver yourself, it's comparing this to as if a hunter let go of the deer that it trapped, or the gazelle that it trapped, or as if a bird let go of the bird that it trapped. And this paints a picture of what it's like to free yourself, deliver yourself from the words that you have trapped yourself in. So you must do this if you're in this sort of situation. Now let's go to the second part, color-coded here in green. This is where it talks about the lazy person. "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." There is so much wisdom packed in this verse right here, because the ant, if you watch an ant, first of all, you will see how diligent and hard working of an animal it is. If we want to call it an ant an animal, I'm just going to call it an animal, insect, whatever. It's a piece of life. If you watch it, they work hard. And let's continue, because it kind of gives some context as to how hard they work and what they do. "Which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in harvest." She has no guide, the ant. The ant has no guide, no ruler, no master, no officer, commander, whatever word you want to use. Yet, she gathers her food in the harvest. She works hard. She provides. So this is how we have, when you watch an ant, you can gain wisdom from the ant. This is King Solomon. So what King Solomon did, let me just break this down. He took very simple things. He observed nature, and he wrote about it, and he provided wisdom through watching things in nature. So go to the ant. She has no ruler, no overseer, but she works hard, she provides, she gathers and harvests. And my dog is being loud. Hey, Loon. Okay, let's continue. "How long Wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? This is pointing towards laziness. If you are in a lazy chapter of your life, you don't want to get up, you don't want to do the work, you don't want to work on the business, you don't want to work at the job, you want to take days off, you don't want to do this or that. It's saying, how long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep? Verse 10, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. Verse 11, so shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man. So this is giving us a scenario of a person traveling and an armed man coming and basically robbing them of their stuff. This is how poverty comes upon people who are lazy, who are sleeping, folding their hands to sleep. Poverty comes upon them as a person who is traveling and an armed man comes to rob them. In other words, poverty comes upon them unexpectedly, suddenly, out of nowhere, because they're sleeping. So let's continue here, where it talks about the wicked person. This is the last part of this chapter here, or the parts of the chapter that we're covering. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. We've talked about froward mouth before. If you're new here, I'll go over it really quickly again. A froward mouth is basically devious speech. It's where a person speaks nonsense. They don't have any wisdom to say. This is the sign of a wicked person. They speak froward things. They have a froward mouth. They don't speak anything worthwhile. Verse 13, he winketh his eye. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. What does this mean? He winks his eye. Well, we already know what the symbol of winking your eye means. It's like a mischievous sort of act, or what do they call it? Gesture, right? So let's make sure I got this right. He speaks with his feet. He teaches with his fingers. There's a lot packed in right here. I remember I was doing a Bible study and I asked the people in the Bible study, what do you think this means? I have to continue to make sure I have it right. Speaks with his feet, okay, and teaches with his fingers. Well, if you pay attention to life, where we go there with our feet. What we do with our hands. So if a person speaks with his feet, that means you can tell a person's character by where he goes with his feet, because he speaks with his feet. Where his feet take him, that is the sign of his character. And he teaches with his fingers. So you can learn from anybody, whether somebody's doing good things, whether somebody's doing bad things, whether somebody's doing unproductive, destructive things, somebody's doing productive, positive things. You can learn from anybody. So everybody teaches with their fingers. The wicked person is talking about here teaches with their fingers. So if you watch anybody, but in this case a wicked person, you will see their intentions. You will see what they're doing in their life and the consequences. You see everything based on what they do with their fingers. So I love how King Solomon puts that in verse 13 there. Now let's go to verse 14. It says, frowardness is in his heart. He devises mischief continually. He soweth discord. So frowardness, just like you have a froward mouth, as we just talked about, that frowardness starts in his heart. That's how he feels within himself. And heart can also be translated to mind as well in the Hebrew. So frowardness is in his heart, it's in his mind, it's in his being. This is the type of person that is talking about here. He devises mischief continually. And just so you know, I used to be this type of person. Devising mischief continually, looking to cause trouble, looking to harm other people. Proverbs talks a lot about this. We've talked about it in the previous Bible studies. There's about 10 of them, if you want to go back and check them out if you're new here. And he sows discord. So there's always arguments. There's something going on with this type of person. Now the final verse, verse 15. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Calamity means destruction. His destruction will come suddenly. Remember how the guy was robbed? The guy that was traveling? How poverty comes upon somebody as an armed man to a traveler? Is giving us another sort of way of understanding what happens to the wicked man. Not only the lazy man will suddenly, come to poverty. The wicked man, he will come to his own destruction. He will come to his own demise. It will happen suddenly. And the crazy thing about it is it says it happens without remedy. So there's no way to fix it. Now we know in the New Testament, Jesus comes, he forgives us of our sins, and we can change. We can, renew our mind. We can repent. We can be forgiven. But for a wicked person, someone who is continuously doing these things, when they know the law, they know what they should be doing, but they're continuously devising mischief, sowing discord, strife, all sorts of problems. Even like Jesus said, ye that work with iniquity, depart from me. You call on my name, Lord, Lord, you cast out demons in my name, you do all these things, but then in the last days, I will say, depart from me, ye that work with iniquity. So people who work with iniquity is lawlessness. People who continuously do these things over and over and over again, Jesus will say, depart from me, I never knew you. In the Old Testament, Proverbs 6 verse 15, it says his destruction will come upon him suddenly. There will be no remedy for his brokenness. He'll be broke. There'll be no remedy. Basically the same thing, in other words, as depart from me, I never knew you. So with that being said, that is Proverbs chapter 6 verses 1 through 15. If you gained value from this video, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know how it resonated with you. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Much peace and love.